Well, it's the first Monday of March, and new month has started, and I'm feeling no more comforted this month than I did a month ago. But I do want to say a few things. One of the things I wanted to say is this morning I was on Facebook wondering, what's the point of making videos or writing posts on my blog or whatever, especially when you get people that are just determined to shit on what you do, which I think a lot of us, pretty much anybody who has any success, especially on this platform, you have to deal with haters. And it kind of makes you wonder, like, why do I keep doing this? But I saw this rather inspirational quote this morning that I want to share for those who are wondering if what they do matters. And it says, the reason speaking out is so important is that it lowers the perceived risk of those who are still silent and have something to say. Your courage matters. Your words matter. Every voice is a key to unlocking another's. So that is why I keep coming on here and making videos. It's why I am still talking, even though I didn't really want to talk on YouTube. And if you watch any of my earlier videos, when I do speak, I'm thinking this is going to be rare because I really don't like being on camera. But I feel compelled to. And there's been an interesting response to some of these videos. To include the one that I made last week in tribute to Roberta Flack, I did a version of Killing Me Softly as my second version. I did a first version about 3 years ago with another YouTuber. That video is still up as far as I know, but the one I made last week, which was fairly well received, that one got blocked. So if you watched it and left me a comment and a like, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. I wish it was still up because I think it was one of my better songs, but what can you do, huh? So anyway, that's what happened to that. I want to talk now. In my video that I made about Russian artists in the Czech Republic, I mentioned an incident that happened on that October 2023 visit to the Czech Republic in the city of Brno. And so that's what I'm going to talk about now. We had never been to Brno before. We came there from Český Krumlov, which is a very charming, well-preserved medieval town. And we had been to Český Krumlov before in 2008, just as a day trip. We just went there from where we were staying in Passau, Germany, which isn't very far from the Czech Republic border. This time we made a point of actually staying in Český Krumlov and had a great time. Ran into one of my husband's coworkers who stayed in the same little inn that we did with her family. And then after that, we drove to Brno. And Brno is in the east. And I had heard that it was a burgeoning city, up and coming, with lots of art and music, and not at all like Prague, but kind of a cool Czech city. So we went there and stayed for a few days. And I think it was on a Sunday we went. And we were walking around, and the first thing that I saw was they were having an outdoor fest. And it looked like they had some really nice offerings, in terms of food. So after we went up a clock tower, I think, and then we went to an underground museum, which was I think done in Czech. I don't know. I remember it was very crowded, and we were underneath the city looking at what used to be a market. After that, it was time for lunch, and we went to this fest that was going on. and I saw something that I really wanted. And I saved us a seat, and Bill went to go get some lunch for us, but he brought back a potato pancake, which, I've got nothing against potato pancakes, but it's not really what I wanted. So we ate some of that, and then I said, well, I'd really like this other thing that I had pointed out. But he went and brought something else back. I think it was sausages or something, and it wasn't what I wanted. And I was getting more and more perturbed because I had told him what I wanted, and he, for some reason, normally he does, respect my preferences, but he just, for whatever reason, he was like, no, this really looked good, and so he brought it, and it was okay, but it wasn't what I wanted. So finally he went and got what I wanted. But by then I was getting really full. And I'm just like, I don't think I can eat all of this. I ate a little bit of it. And we still had leftovers from the other 2 plates that he'd brought. And I was a bit annoyed because I was like, look at all this food. We're just going to waste it. And then I looked up, and there was a very thin woman with brown eyes and brown hair and missing at least half her teeth. And she had several bald spots. And I was just thinking, I think perhaps she is a person who is unhoused. And she was looking at these leftover plates of food that we had that were, I don't know, probably anywhere from half to 2/3 consumed. And it was clear that she wanted them. Like, I just looked at her and I said, you want this? And she just very enthusiastically was like, yeah, I want them. So I was like, well, all right, you can have them. We didn't speak her language, and she didn't speak much English. So she took them and sat down at a nearby table and proceeded to eat everything on the plate, including the horseradish and the mustard and everything. She ate it all. And I was just sitting there like, shocked. And everybody sitting around us was shocked. It was like, you gave this woman your leftovers. We were just going to throw them away. It didn't seem particularly hygienic, but, and my husband would have bought her some food if she did. I don't know. She really looked like she needed to eat something. But then she looked at my husband and she said, water. And so he got up, and I thought he was just going to go to one of the stands and buy her some water, but he disappeared. And while he was gone, another person came up. It was a man. And that guy, it was clear, wanted money. And I actually didn't have any money on me. I had no Czech money, and I don't think I had any euros. And I just kind of ignored him because I didn't speak the language, and I was not feeling particularly safe. But then the woman that we had just given our leftovers to got up and started yelling at the guy. And it was pretty clear that she was telling him to just get away from us, very assertively. And he was arguing back at her. And I'm just sitting there like this, God, where's Bill? I hope he hasn't been attacked or anything, because these people had been watching us. So I'm sitting there waiting, and I just kind of looked over at her nervously, and she's still telling that guy I probably knew him, and was just telling him to go away. So we're sitting there, and I'm like, God, why is it taking him so long? I'm really afraid that maybe something happened. But then I see him walking, and he's got a big smile on his face. He had found a store and bought a 6-pack of water for this lady. And I'm thinking, because she has to carry that. But anyway, he brought it over and presented it to her. And she gave him a big smile and said, "Thank you." And then she left. And then, like, after a few minutes, we got up to use the porta-john, and I saw that there were a couple of bottles of water left in there. And I don't know if she just left them in there because she couldn't carry them, or maybe she sent friends to go and get it. I don't know. But it was really profound and sort of a little bit shaming. I mean, I'm not ashamed that she was able to eat our cast-offs. And I think if we'd have been a little bit more on the ball, we would have said, "No, we'll buy you some food." But the fact that people waste food so much. But at least in this case, she came down and took care of the problem for us, because I didn't want to throw the food away. And she clearly needed food. So she ate our leftovers. And then, as we were heading back to our parking garage, there was a banjo player there. And he was a very good banjo player, and I was like, "Wait a minute, didn't I see you in Český Krumlov?" Because he'd actually been in Český Krumlov, and that is not near Brno. It's several hours away. So it seemed kind of interesting that I would run into the same busker, even though the Czech Republic is not a big country, and obviously you can get from one place to another, but I had just seen him in Český Krumlov. And he was a very good banjo player. And I said, "Didn't I just see you?" And he says, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, you're very good. I wish you'd had a CD. I would have bought one." But we did give him, I think we gave him 10 euros because we didn't have any more Czech money at that point. But I do remember being kind of blown away by that experience and compelled to write about it. And now I am talking about it because it's yet another way to share that story. And I've got a bunch of them. Maybe they're better shared here than my thoughts on Donald Trump. But I will be talking about him too. Anyway, I hope you have a good first Monday of March, and try to keep the faith. I know it's hard. I've been watching a lot of spiritual people on YouTube lately. I'm not a really big spiritual person, I don't think. I mean, I'm not one that does a lot of like dowsing rods or tarot. I actually started getting into the tarot cards, but I'm not really into that per se. I'm not an expert on that, but I have been finding comfort in listening to those people. If anything, it's a reminder that life goes on and nothing lasts forever. And if you're not into the tarot, then you can just watch the last number of Avenue Q, which pretty much says the same thing. It's only for now. So thank you for listening. Have a good Monday. See you next time.